there, welcome to Big V TV. Great to have you with us for a Wednesday night, middle of the week. We always enjoy getting out and about, and tonight we catch up with the man known as B-Dot, so I'm told, Brandon Armstrong. He's an internet sensation, played plenty of basketball over in the States, of course, G League, D League, call it what you want, and he's down here, down under, reigniting his professional career, playing for the Melbourne University Black Angels, and he sure does perform like a character and like an entertainer in front of the camera. Tonight, we head out to his crib, as he calls it, head out to his CBD apartment. We sit down with B-Dot and we talk all things basketball. Sit back, relax, and enjoy.
It's so funny. I always had a countdown, like a random countdown on Facebook. I put overseas bound, and I put 283 days, and I just keep counting down from there. So I always wanted to play overseas ball. Like, I knew in my mind, I didn't think that I was gonna make it to the NBA. I was just being realistic. You know, I'm coming from a Division II. Not the prototypical big guard like they had, you know, back then. I was just being realistic, and I was like, I can still play professional basketball, it just doesn't have to be in the NBA. So my mindset was always, you know, playing pro ball. So once I graduated, that's when I was, you know, going to those camps. When I got my first, you know, camp letter, I was like, oh yeah, this is about to get real. Well, honestly, my first sport was soccer and baseball. I ended up finding basketball, I think, late for like someone that plays basketball, which was like 10. And I found it at a summer camp. It wasn't even a basketball camp. These kids were playing, I knew what basketball was, but they were playing on the goals outside. It's like a little full court in the parking lot. And from that day on, that's when I fell in love with it. It was Precious Jewels summer camp. Soccer, we actually won the state champion. The soccer team, they won it in high school. And I always played the wing. And I loved it. It was fun. I don't know, like, cause I was a black kid from the hood. Like, we didn't have no soccer, but my mom like put me in every sport possible, and I ended up liking soccer. And I always baseball. My position was shortstop until, you know, I fell out of love with baseball when the coaches was showing more favoritism to their sons. And you know, when you're better than them, can't really say anything. But I had a very active mom who yelled a lot, so. That's how I fell out of love in baseball, probably like around the age of 12, 13. Yeah, she was a big supporter for basketball, and she always was behind me 100%, whatever I did. If it was kickboxing or sewing, she was like, look, I'm supporting you, whatever you want to do. And I always kept my foot in soccer. Like, I played, you know, recreationally, and but basketball was my main thing. It's my main thing from then, and that's what I knew that I wanted to do. Played in high school. All 4 years, started varsity my sophomore year. My junior year, I played terrible. I wasn't good. I didn't even get better. It was, and I knew it just the way we played, how I played, and when my AAU coach came and was like, you should be dominating. And so that my senior year, I trained with a guy named Coach Miller. I just got really better, got really good. Ended up taking it to college, Lincoln Memorial University. It's a Division II in Tennessee. We're like the Duke for D2, and when I got there, we were terrible. Like, they hadn't won a conference game. It was in 2008. That's when I got my friend Los, who's known, famous Los 32, and we teamed up. Coach got a whole bunch of freshmen, and we changed the whole program around. We went from like worst to first, you know, not overnight, probably in a year and a half. And when I just say Duke, in terms of like we make it to the Final Four a lot. We win a lot. We have the most wins since, you know, 2008 for a Division II college. And it's just that basketball culture, you know. It's way bigger now, because back then it was a small school. We only had like 3,000, 4,000 students, not even counting the medical building. So it was just us. We were all we had. You know, the baseball players, the soccer players got all the love. So it just felt that basketball culture, like it seems what Duke has. Like, the gym is small, and like Coach K is like so energetic. It just feels like that. It was, the basketball culture there was wonderful, and I'm glad I was able to participate and take part in it. Just finding an agent. Ended up teaming up with my uncle, James Fars. He played at Georgia Tech, played with the Lakers. And yeah, we went to a couple camps in the Eurobasket. It didn't really work out like I wanted to. He said we had some, interest from Czech Republic and some other things, but, I never heard back from him. That's when me and my mom just teamed up. My mom, we ended up going, she ended up knowing about some D-League trials, known as the G League now, and we went up to Memphis. It was the Memphis Grizzlies for the Reno Bighorns. I went there, did well. I just went in there with confidence. I just went there and just play hard, try to make every shot you can, and just play defense. And I ended up getting invited to the training camp in Reno. Killed there, shoot, make my open shots, and then got invited to training camp. So it was amazing because I was like, man, I got to try out again. Because I tried out in Memphis and I had to try it again in Reno, which is the exact same thing, but I was familiar with all of the drills. The coach, I knew I already had the coach's eye. It was just about, killing here. And then, next you know, I got invited to training camp, and it was surreal. And I was in Reno for about a month. Then I got cut, and that's when I went over to Spain with Chris Warren. He's the guy that also set this gig up too, my guy Devin Butler. And went out there, went to Fuenlabrada. Man, I'm here, I've arrived, and little kid from Division II, and I felt like I made it. And I was in a whole different country. I was in Spain for about 2-3 months, and it's a real grind just because of it being a whole different country with a different language. That was probably one of the toughest parts. But being one of the only Americans on my team, I knew more than the rest, everybody else knew. So that also helped. It was like, my boy was like, you need to come on this Australia tour. So I went on there, and it was good. I played against Geelong. We played in different places, Sutherland, Brisbane, and Sydney. Sydney was the one that got me. I ended up missing 2 practices because I was just having fun. I was new to me. This is when I was on Vine. So I was quote unquote Vine famous at the time. This is when I started my videos, and I was on a quest to get to 100K, and Sydney just messed me all up. So I ended up I played the last couple games. My last game was in Geelong, and that's when I had my best game. I had about 20 points, 5 rebounds, and it was just crazy because my first game back here in 4 years was against Geelong. So it's crazy how God works, but yeah, that's when I knew I was in love with Australia. I'm not playing for anything, I'm playing for championships or rep, but it doesn't qualify for anything for me. And that's when I, that's when I missed it. I was like, I still love it. I've always played. I played every day. So it was like, I want to, I took over the social media world. I created a genre of comedy that hasn't been created ever. And I wanted to play basketball. I wanted to go pro again. And also to give people, the impersonation and the courage that if you start something, that you're still able to finish it. It may not, something may happen with something positive, something negative, with me positive, and I still missed it. People forget I played professional before this. This is real. I just hit up my boy Devin Butler. He sponsors Keybro, and he had all the connects out here. And it was between here and China, because I didn't want to go to Europe and do an 8 to 10 month season because, I still wanted to, do my social media stuff. And Australia and China, they have, shortened seasons, 4 to 5 months. And it was between here and China. And like I said, I always wanted to come back to Australia. And when I got the opportunity to do it, it was great. The waiting process sucked because I was offering to sponsor teams also. Sponsor a team, have my logo, but also build that team up to, a better team. And teams, they were passing on me. They were like, well, he hasn't played in 2.5 years, or, is he serious about it? And then one day I'm like, the season's already started. There's no way, it's a wrap. So that's when I was gonna play with the Big Three. I got invited to play in the Big Three. Then that exact day when I shut down, I was like, okay, I'm about to do the Big Three. He's about to call Brian Scalabrine agent. My boy Devin calls me 4 a.m. Hey bro, pack your stuff. We get your visa, we about to go. And I'm like, what's up? He's like, a team in Australia, in Melbourne. And I was like, wow. The waiting process sucked, but I kept my faith in God, and it happened for me, and now I'm here. I wanted to build a whole brand, and that's what I'm doing now. from playing basketball and to bringing like a basketball culture to Melbourne University that's not what they're not used to me DJing, as I DJ now, and I've always DJed, but I've never had the actual turntables. Now I came out here and got the turntables, got my first DJ gig. Like, I'm building a whole different brand for me, about to start my own cooking show. Like, I'm just expanding. Like, people don't understand there's more money globally than it is in America. Because globally is global, not just America. And a lot of people stay with that mindset, like, nah, it's American this. Like, no, expand. It's way more fans. You get way more love. Mr. Everything. I'm trying to be the biggest entertainer ever. And that's what I said on Jimmy Kimmel. That's what I tell from my first interview. I want to be the biggest entertainer of all time. And entertainer, that's just not one thing. That's music, me killing the basketball, social media, and from cooking, like DJing I want to be able to entertain all aspects, in many aspects as possible. And I want to it's hard to be great at it because, in order to be great at, one thing, you have to put so many hours, which I'm not putting that many hours, but I can be good as hell. I'll definitely take good as hell in a lot of things versus being great at one.
Well, there he was, the man they call B. Brandon Armstrong. Great to catch up with him, but it's only part one. Tomorrow night, we're back with the great man. We sit down with him and talk about his status. Of course, he is an internet sensation, and he rubs shoulders with the greats of the game over in the NBA. We're going to talk more about that tomorrow night. Should be a bit of fun on Big V TV. Friday night, we're back at the desk. All the big games coming up this weekend and big milestones. There's some absolute beauties coming up in round 11. See you tomorrow night, 5:30 p.m. right here on Big V TV.